Howdy, y'all. Ryan here, the founder of VShell. Just wanted to chat with you guys a little bit about the concepts, features, and functionality, kind of the content of VShell and how it works. So um, basically, it's kind of this new concept, right, of how do we get humans to interact with each other in a good way, right? And I know I'm kind of like referencing it in a third party perspective. But you really have to think about these things because nowadays, right, with the dating market as it is, this is going to be our first kind of systematic attempt at fixing some of the dating market. Doesn't mean we're going to fix all of it, but you see men and women just getting after the most worst parts of each other, and and transparently, me as a man, I could sit here and blame all of women and feminism and say it's you guys, and then all of women and feminism can blame men and say, well, it's you guys. And end of the day, we're not going to get anywhere doing that. So the attempt here is how do we build systems and how do we lead each other to happier places and ultimately stronger places. I'm traditionally a software engineer, charter captain for boats, and music uh, guy as well. So I've got a few entrepreneurial kind of skill sets under my toolkit, but I'm going to reference kind of the water. I've learned a lot of things on the water, and I'm going to tie this into why this whole arrogant mentality of I'm strong and independent is one of the most harmful and dangerous mentalities you could possibly have. And I'm going to reference it because of the water, because things that I've learned on the water. So, just off rip, when I say on the water, I mean as a captain, as a marina guy, as someone who's worked with many charter companies. In my time, I've worked, I think, over eight eight charter companies, maybe, being a boat captain or working with other captains and things like this. And then I also went on to start my own charter company. And and not only that, I'm now international. For those my American friends, this is not America. Um, but I've accomplished international charter certifications and have learned a lot on the water. And of the things that I've undeniably learned is the most arrogant captains, the most arrogant water people are the ones to avoid like the plague. Avoid them like the plague. It is incredibly dangerous to be arrogant on the water because the ocean is not forgiving. Water does not negotiate. It does not give a fuck what your politics are. It doesn't care what your mentality is. It does not care. It does not negotiate in the slightest. In fact, the ocean has killed some of the highest certified people. Right now I'm going through this RYA learning journey, and these are certifications at each stage of how far you can take a boat, how long of a vessel you can man, and at each certification you get a little bit more length and a little bit more distance you can travel from a safe haven. And some of the highest tiered certifications have been belonged or earned by people who ultimately lost their lives to the water. And and I don't know the full details on these situations, but it's just to say that the water is to not be disrespected or to be this like arrogant mentality around. And I've kept that as a rule of thumb as a charter company owner. I will never hire a captain who is arrogant, who has that mentality of like, oh, it's just water, da da da. You're a fucking idiot. And I know that's an aggressive language, but it is 100% true. I will never hire someone who has that I'm a strong, independent captain mentality. Now, obviously, I'm gonna chat about that with how it ties into the dating field, but very much so. Me, even as an experienced charter captain with international charter certifications for vessels, both motoring and sailing, and vessels up to 78 feet in length and however far from the shore I can go. I know, and all the experience that I have of working for 8 different companies and having my own charter company and all these things, I know I'm not a strong independent captain because when you're out on the water, you rely on people. If something goes wrong, very much you might initially try to fix it with the tools and things that you have on board. But there are so many stories I could tell you personally where I had to get somebody's help, right? So, so this idea of being strong and independent is the most weakening idea that our society has somehow uh, garnered. Like, be strong, be interdependent, right? Like I'm still a badass motherfucker on the, I'm a strong motherfucker on the water. Like, believe it or not, I'm very confident, but I'm not independent and I'm not stupid of that. Because if you go out on the water and you need a tow, you need help, you need medical help, right? They teach us these in all these courses and programs too. All of your satellite radios and SARTs and your radar responders and your EPIRBs and all these things communicate to other people. They're all to be like, I can communicate with someone who's 60 nautical miles away from me to come get me, to come help me. Like, like we're dependent on each other and we're to play along nice with each other, right? Like, and this mentality that has been developed as like strong, independent, you just sound fucking stupid. I don't know how else to say it. Like I'm trying to say it in the most professional, kind, respect, because I understand this is a video that, is obviously going to have my face on it and my message for quite some time. But in the rule of authenticity, I don't know what other word to use to describe that mentality. And this is how people are navigating relationships. And I don't know what's more dangerous, right? Like the water or like unsuccessful relationships. You can make an argument on both sides. Like just because one exists in this vertical of life and this one exists in this vertical of life doesn't mean they're less damaging, right? Um, because most verticals in life, right? Like, and what I mean by verticals is like an industry, like the maritime chartering boat industry. You can very much take things from that, and you can look at the airline industry, for instance, and you can be like, oh, there's a lot of like references. You could, or a lot of things that connect, and then you could do the same thing, I'm sure, to many industries in life. I don't know exactly how it would directly relate with like, relationships. Like, I don't know if we need to like invent certifications, right? Of like who can date who and for how long. That would almost be comical. But and I say that jokingly, but like I'm sure there's ideas and concepts and characteristics that has allowed me to climb through the maritime ranks very well that would very much be applicable to human interaction and relationships. Because to some degree we all are, the captains of our own life, if you will. Like we all are, the captains of our relationships. And I think that's what's going on with men and women right now. It's like you're having two people trying to argue who's the better captain, who should steer the boat. And it's just simply not working. And then worse yet, you have two people who are arguing on who gets to steer the boat, and then one of them refuses to be humble to the boat into the ocean, right? Like that's what I'm seeing. Some of this like arrogant, I'm strong, independent mentality is you're manning a ship with somebody else. Typically, how it goes is someone helms the boat, someone crews the boat, right? Someone's going to pull the lines and help with buoys and fenders and all these other sorts of things. And then you have someone who's navigating, someone who's going to steer the ship, right? And traditionally, those were some of the best relationships in time. In fact, we have thousands of years of evidence that that worked, right? Like that's how we're all here, roughly, is that same mentality seemed to have worked for very many years. That same partnership, worked for very many years. Was maybe the man did this and the woman did this, and together they were great, but they didn't both do the same thing, right? Like And I'm not saying it was always man-led or female-led. Like I'm just suggesting, you know, man did this thing and the woman did this thing, and together it was very useful and parallel with each other, and it has led to such a brilliant society that we currently live in today that generates over $114 trillion in economic GDP value and loads of technology and cool places with lights on the ceiling and the very laptop that I'm recording this on and the internet that you're able to watch this on. So, and the AC room that we get to live in, like these type of partnerships and pairings led to a massive success in humanity as a whole. And now, in the latest you know century or whatever, the latest decade, we've decided that this mentality is no longer useful for us. This dependence and interdependence is no longer useful for us, and we've somehow stumbled on this mentality of strong independence, but yet nothing we do is strong nor independent. Like I find the mentality of strong independence is quite uh, it's a double kind of like you're lying on both fronts because like humans as a creature, as a species, like we are not very strong. Like in the eyes of God, in the image of God, we are as strong as we can be, right? But like let's be humble a bit. If it gets a little bit cold, I'm like, I need a coat. Like I'm a strong man. Like look at these arms, like I'm a strong dude. And it gets slightly chilly, and I'm talking like in the context of like huge things, right? Like in the context of like Earth and space and time, like Earth just gets slightly colder, just like a little bit. And I'm like, yeah, give me a coat. Like as strong as as brilliant as I am, as like, supposed to be as with all the certifications and experience and all these brilliant things that I've accomplished, and like Earth gets just slightly colder, and I'm like, yo, give me a coat, like or a coat, and all these things. I turn into the biggest sissy, you know what I mean? And I find it comical that people with a tenth of the accolades or strength that I might possess, whether mentally or physically, are like, man, I'm strong and independent. It's like, first of all, you're neither of them things because like I know I'm neither of them things. Like, dude, I depend on the next person to do good, and I depend on my future self, on my younger self who's made great decisions. I depend on my family. I depend on friends. I depend on the military. I depend on, the infrastructure people who built this lovely room that I'm staying in. I depend on their staff to keep maintaining this. I depend on the internet people to maintain the informational technology. So I'm certainly not independent. And I already mentioned I'm not too strong. It gets slightly cold and I'm out, so I find that mentality just so comical. You know what I mean? It's like people are like, I'm strong and independent. It's like, dude, like tiny little bugs and parasites, can like make you incredibly ill and sick in a very short amount of time. Like you're not that strong. If like a tiny little bug, like a little tick from like the wrong rainforest can like do your entire bloodline in. Like, bruv, like you're not as strong and independent as you proclaim to be. So, so I say all that, in humility and context of like, that is the honest to God truth as humans. We do rely on God. We do rely on Jesus. We do rely on each other. We do rely on the things that previous generations of humans have built for us, and we're very fortunate to have those things. And their hard work and ambition and things like that, sacrifices won't go in vain to your modern day arrogance. That's very rude to do. And I say that in safety of you, just in case you happen to have one of these mentalities of strong and independence. Like if you're, you know, I won't attack the relational stuff, but I'll certainly make an example on the water, right? Like if you're arrogant enough to have very little charter experience and say, I'm going to go and do a transatlantic ocean crossing, and I'm a strong independent captain. I'm a strong independent captain. Like me, and I'm like, like I've still got to climb the ranks some, I still got to inform myself some, but it would be unwise of me just to not give you like good maritime wisdom. Be like, hey, I would consider doing that with a partner, with someone who's maybe a bit more skillful than you. Maybe I would consider taking a different route, or at least give some wisdom and guidance so you don't end up killing yourself, right? Because that's what would happen if someone's just like, I'm a strong, independent woman, or I'm a strong, independent boat captain, and I'm going to go across the ocean. It's like, dude, like the metaphor I'm making here is the ocean is like life and a ginormous relationship. Like that's the exact challenge you're calling when you're saying, I want to get married, is the equivalent of like you're traversing a ginormous amount of space of unknown things and rogue waves and weather, things like this, and low pressure systems, and you have the arrogance to say you're strong and independent of that. Like you're going to be humbled very quickly. And I think a lot of women are getting humbled very quickly. And I think a lot of men as well. But certainly, undeniably, with 100% conviction and fact, the arrogant movement of strong independence is led by feminism in females. There's no denial of it. Now, I understand, right, that like they're saying, hey, well, we want to be stronger, we want to be respected. Those things are very much true, and I want those things for you as well. I do want to respect women as a whole as well, but having an arrogant mentality is not respectful nor safe, whether in the maritime industry or any industry, let alone relationships or working with people or building marriages. So, so to tackle this, and people can call it sexist, misogynist, all these things that they would like to, but it doesn't change the fact that it's a terribly dangerous mentality. In fact, I would argue that's 10 times more, even though I'm not misogynist, having an arrogant mentality is arguably 10 times, if not 100 times more dangerous because you're invoking the chance of hurting yourself and others, almost guaranteed. Almost guaranteed. Like the fact that a 20-year-old woman who knows nothing, like a 20-year-old man knows nothing. This has nothing to do with gender. A 20-year-old human being knows nothing, right? Like you're dumb. Like I'm not trying to disrespect the 20-year-olds, but you're so new to life. You've just stumbled across sentient and conscious life, just since you were about like 14, 15, 16 years old, and you truly don't even develop your full mentalities till, maybe 25, 26, 27, probably even later, to be honest. And like I'm 30 now. I've probably still got 10 more years, 20 more years of wisdom to go before I'm anywhere substantial. Um, but the point is the fact that you have 20-year-old women running around on Earth saying that they're strong and independent when they're certainly neither of them thinks, when nobody really is, to be quite frank with you. Like men as a species are just slightly stronger than women, just slightly, like maybe physically. And I'll even be honest, there's some badass women out there too. Like there's some girls who are very mentally dominant too. So men may even just slightly be physically stronger, um, and a lot of women I know are very emotionally mature and emotionally strong. And why are we using this mentality to compete with each other when we should be using it to commingle? And if you are stronger than me, right, as a woman, wouldn't she be like, hey, I'm stronger than you, and let me lead you to a better position in life, right? Like I just went through a relationship with a girl, very very short term, and by the end of it, she's like, "Oh, I wouldn't even affiliate with someone like you." Da 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 da. So I'm so much better than you. And my natural response was like, "You're disgusting," because like, who says that? First of all, verbatim, the thing that she left me as an audio note. It's like I wouldn't even engage with a conversation with someone like you had I known, who your image is and all this stuff. And I was like, that is the most disgusting thing that you could possibly hear. Like what a low thing to say, right? Like if you're so much more superior than somebody, wouldn't you lead them to a better position in life? So then immediately you write that I can derive negative information from you. Why is your heart posture not helping people? Right? Like immediately it says 50 things about yourself, right? So and I very much barked right back at that woman. We had like 5 audio messages going back and forth. I was like, "You think you're fucking something? That's cute. That's cute at best. Because if you were, then you would at least lead me to a better position in life. You wouldn't just sit there on your high horse and judge people. If you do, that's very fair. That's very much what the Pharisees did in the Bible. And and it's just kind of a weird thing to do. Like if you're better than a janitor, for instance, or better than a waiter, you don't sit there and remind the waiter every 2 seconds, I'm better than you, I'm stronger than you, I'm more independent than you, and I'm better, like you just sound like a douchebag. Like you just sound like a fucking douchebag. So um, yeah, so I'm not trying to make too much fun of that person, but I am making fun of that modern rampant mentality that certainly has plagued Earth at this point. Certainly the woke areas, and yeah, it's just not healthy. It's just not helpful. And yeah, I don't understand it because it doesn't work, right? We have all the statistics to prove that it does not work in relationships. In fact, if you look at divorce statistics, it's like we see like a hockey stick effect of like, the integration of feminism and like all these terrible things. You see how terrible it is. Like, all these things have just made men and women argue with each other more and more and make more fights and more problems. And as I mentioned, experientially, it's been terrible for dating. Like, me as a God-fearing Christian man who's only been hunting for a wife for the last decade cannot find one. But yet I've managed to go out and sell out shows, generate 300 plus song catalogs, get millions of streams, build charter companies, become software, competent, work in a laboratory and all these things, and so much more. I mean, but that's about the crux of it. But like, but I've managed to do these incredibly niched down accolades that are incredibly difficult to accomplish, but yet like getting a marriage, I somehow can't do because I've done the simple thing, which is hold my partner accountable for mentalities that aren't helpful for herself or myself. And somehow that's been worthy of a of mass levels of disrespect and yeah, just things I can't even begin to chat about. So I very much although I do deeply respect women, I do not respect arrogance, and for men too. If it's an arrogant man, I don't want to hire you. I don't want to work with you. I think you're an idiot. Like you're so dumb, you don't even know what you don't know. Like there's so much information in life, right? And I apologize if I start talking too brainiacy and too much on a higher plane or just a different plane. I don't mean to be arrogant myself here, um, but when it's like us humans as a species, like we proclaim ourselves as so intellectually dominant and like we're so smart and like God all these things, but like we still wipe our ass with our hands. Like we're not that smart. Like we're cheeky, we're clever, we've been able to come together and build brilliant things, but yeah, some of the arrogance that we have as humans is insanity because it's like, dude, like we can look at a book of illusions, like an illusion book, and our brain gets fooled, and then we have the audacity to claim that we're like so brilliant above God, even is what some people are walking around proclaiming atheism and that they know better than this thing and that it's like it's nuts to me. Like so I recognize I'm kind of doing double speak here, but because I've earlier precursed in this conversation that humans are incredibly brilliant. We built the infrastructure, lights, all these brilliant things, informational technology systems, and so much more. And now I've just said like we aren't that smart. So I recognize the duality of saying those things, but what I'm trying to communicate is humans are brilliant when we come together, we work hard together, but we are not brilliant when we lean into our arrogance and egos. We are nowhere near the brilliance that we're capable of, or the brilliance that exists probably still in the universe for us to be saying and operating the way that we are. I mean, it's absolutely madness that people are still walking around like I'm a strong, independent. You're not like leave those words out of your mouth. Like there should never be another person on earth who ever says I'm a strong, independent person. You know what I mean? Because it's like if you're so strong and independent, right, and you want to proclaim your arrogance above God, then go build yourself a little space rocket. And I'm not even saying it in the terms of Elon Musk style. I'm saying go get yourself a little space rocket and go because you're so strong and above the rules of God and the physics of life. Go get yourself a little space rocket, go build a whole planet yourself, and go build laws of physics around it, And you'll quickly recognize that me even suggesting this, if you're someone with, judgment in their eyes, and probably someone who's claimed that you're strong and independent, you'll probably naturally say, "Oh my God, that kid's so crazy," because I've just now completely showed how incapable you are with a very mediocre example of, like, you literally can't even build a rocket, and you can't go to space and build your own planet. Then why are you proclaiming you're so strong, right? Like at least to the level of arrogance that I'm seeing. Because if you're gonna have this like mentality that you're so strong and independent and above you, like I'll do you one even better. Don't even take the example that extreme, that crazy of an example that some people would probably proclaim. Go get in a boat and go in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean where there is water, where there is fish, and go live an entire life out there. Go build an entire population by yourself and then build an entire society by yourself that reflects the one that currently exists because you're so strong and independent. Like please go build information systems out there. Please go build electrical systems out there. Go build tax codes. Go build all these things. Go build the island itself. If you want to act above God, go ahead and please do this. Oh wait, you verbatim cannot, and that's something that's actually tangible to do on Earth. Let alone the crazy example I said about going out to space and like building your own planet and laws of physics. That sounds like crazy talk if you're someone who's strong and independent. But you simply can't do these things, let alone in space, let alone even on the Earth that you currently exist on. So I've derived, many logical fallacies that you are not strong and independent. So why the fuck are you treating men like dog shit and pretending that you're strong and independent? And not only that, we've now discussed the macrocosm of ideas. The microcosm of ideas is if you're so strong and independent, and you're above people, you wouldn't treat the janitor like shit. So wouldn't you lead people to a better society and a better successful thing if you're so strong and independent? Like if your virtue is being better than other people, and that's what your value to society is it that valuable? Because wouldn't someone who's better than other people, wouldn't they try to bring them up? So I've recognized I've played chess in 50 different ways for the mentality of strong, independent people, but fundamentally to say that you are not strong nor independent, and yeah, so I just wanted to get on this now to loop it all back to V-cell because the idea here is, um, you know, I actually didn't even talk about the features and functionality, which is exactly what I wanted to do here. But step one is we got to embed accountability into a system. We got to embed accountability and humility because if people are going to do this to other people, what does that derive about human behavior, right? Or what does that derive about your impact to other human beings? If other people on Earth are running around saying I'm strong and independent, right? Like what is that? And then, excuse me, doing it at the discreditation of other people. What does that say about those people, and why are they doing it? To me, it seems like a fruitless kind of effort because I don't know, yeah, it's entirely arrogant. So I'm not sure the functionalities of the direct functionalities of how to bake in humility into B cell, but I do know how to bake in accountability, and I do know how to bake in a system that we can then let other people know this person is incredibly arrogant, and they're doing it out of a position of devirtualization of other people, um, which I guess some weird reverse psychology Uno reverse card is what I've just done, an example of the girl that I've now disclosed to you guys, where she's like, well, I would never engage with you because I'm so much better than you. And then I've now reverse Uno card that to say, well, I think that person actually isn't at all. And if you were, you would elevate people, and that seems very natural. And I guess me doing that is what a lot of people nowadays will proclaim to be like, oh, well, that's so rude of you. It's like, dude, oh man, like society is very, very, very interesting, as I'll put it that way. But um, I recognize that a lot of this is very, very logically dense stuff that I've just gone on a 30-minute riff of just unloading. Uh, but fundamentally to say that hopefully in my display of attempted intelligence here, that hopefully I'm not de-virtuing this woman, right? Because in her defense, she's a very very high caliber woman, all these things, very 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 classy and all these things, and and I don't say these things to tear her down. I say these things to tear down her ego. And I say these things to tear down all the feminist ego that exists today. I don't say it to tear down the woman or the human themselves, but to rip that ego out and fucking throw it in the middle of the ocean. It needs to go. That shit is done because it is trash. Like it one logically, I've already proved five different ways, all the way to Sunday that this mentality is fruitless. Um, doesn't even make sense, right? And it's not helpful. Like this poor girl, now just put herself in a really nasty situation with me because as much as I've spoken to you guys about this, I very much just laid her down like, yeah, why would you treat a man like trash if you're so much better than me? Wouldn't you at least be classy on the way out? Like why would you take that stance of virtue? Like like how pharisaical of you, or whatever the term would be for Pharisees, right? Like how, oh, you're so much better than the next person and the next human being. You can't even have decency. Like, I don't know. I can't fathom that someone uttered out of their mouth, like, I wouldn't even engage with a conversation. I'm so much better than you. It's like, bro, like what? So to me, it's like this is what we have to deal with as men, and it makes no sense when you're like, dude, I don't even treat like if I see a homeless dude, like I've laid on the grass with homeless dudes and been like, yo, tell me about your life, dude. Like I'm curious about it. Like dude, like I've done love this. I don't want to virtue signal. There's 50 more things that I'm not gonna reference here, but long story short, if someone's lower than you in a socioeconomic status way, if your natural demeanor is I'm better than you and you're below me, you're a piece of shit. Like you're a piece of shit. Like there's no more if that's your very first inference, right? Like you're not a good person by the D virtue of other people. You're a good person by the abilities that you're trying to obtain within yourself, like the capacities and potential that you have within yourself. Are you achieving that? Whether it's your moral capacities, whether it's your intellectual capacities, whether it's your physical or financial or spiritual capacities, like are you fulfilling those? Yes or no? Like that's if you're a good person or not. And that's between you and you. That's between you and you. Like you and God at most, you and you at least, right? Like but if your moral value comes at the independence of other people, um, ironically, when I suppose I made a statement about you versus you, but if your moral value and life compass, and directional, yeah, I suppose your value comes at the making someone else less than you, you're probably not that high value of a person, right? Like I'll give an example. The king of some society, if he's walking around like I'm the best king on earth, I'm better than you, I'm better than you, I'm better than you, I'm strong and independent, I don't need you, I don't need you. Like you would sound like one, a jackass, but two, it would be entirely false. Like you might exist in the mentality of other people to delude them, you might manipulate other people to believe that, right? You might get away with that because you exist in the minds of other people that they can perceive you in that light, but you're not actually in that light. And that's exactly why I'm here to expose all that because that poor girl, as attractive as she is, and very unfortunate to her, I was not letting her off the hook for saying them things. I was like, yo, why would you say that? Like, explain to me this. If you're such a high caliber woman, Why would you ever utter those words to anybody, let alone a high caliber man? Right? Like why would you do that? Why would you ever tell someone that you're better than them and they're not even worthy of a conversation with you? Like that is fucking low. So now I'm not controlling her decisions or whatever, but it's just like you're not morally superior to nobody. And that's not a virtuous thing to claim. So why are women, at least in my experience, or men, if a man goes around Earth and doing the same, any human, but imagine a man walking around like I'm better than such and such. Oh, that janitor's not even worthy of a conversation with me. How would I describe that man as well? I would not have very high things to say about him. So it's no different for women, right? Like it's no different. Like that's not a yeah, it's not a thing of virtue or a thing of value to go around and telling the world how much better you are than other people and how much less people are to you, right? And I recognize we're humans, right? We're all humans. Nobody's perfect. I've probably done these things myself as well. More than positive, I'm sure I have. And I'm sure I've heard a lot of people, proclaiming that mentality, but I hope through my maturity and years that some of these things have left, might be right, my sentient consciousness, right? Like why would I want to possess those mentalities? They're incredibly dangerous, hurtful. They're actually low value mentalities. Point case being, tying it all back now to the maritime world. If in a metaphor to try to explain some of these things, right? If I run around saying I'm a strong, independent boat captain and I get one mistake in the ocean, some weird weather storm that I can't control, some weird rogue wave that I can't control, some electronics go bad on the boat that I can't control, a leak happens on the keel of the boat that I didn't know about because it's outside of my awareness, right? I'm in a very dangerous situation incredibly quick. And that's what I'm trying to warn people about is if you have this mentality that you're so strong and independent and this fundamental arrogant mentality that you have omnipotent awareness and omnipotent knowledge of everything around you, you're so smart and you can't even keep up with a conversation like the one I'm displaying to you right now. And the best you could probably do is judge it or be like, some keyboard warrior like, oh, this guy's crazy or like, or whatever. Like you can't even keep up with a human being communicating with you that may or may not have higher IQ. I might be lower IQ than a lot of people watching here. I might be higher than some, but we're all within a relative IQ band of each other of a couple points, right? Like if you can't keep up with that, and you have the arrogance to think you can navigate life, which is infinitely more complex than the conversation I've just displayed, there's no way that is helpful for anybody. Let alone myself, let alone yourself, right? Like us humans, like back to some of the stuff I was trying to chat earlier. Like we think we're so brilliant, but like our IQ range is anywhere from like 0 to like 160 is like our like most common IQs, right? Like on some bell curve of distributions, like most people exist from like 80 to like 120, right? Like and we got a few outliers on the lower end, we got a few outliers on the upper end. Maybe the highest IQ ever recorded is like 212 or something. Maybe the lowest is like I don't know. I don't know. But because I'm not that smart. So I don't know everything. But but um but the point I'm trying to make here is like the most IQ humans have is like call it rounded up even 250 IQ points. Like out of our own out of our own human metric that we built. Like that's our highest IQ range that we've possibly been able to record, right? And it's like we, as brilliant as we are, cannot do the things that exist in the universe. We cannot replicate certain things that exist in the universe. We can't like generate like like I don't know, like the laws of physics or something. Like we're like there's basic issues that we can't even fix. Like people are still hungry on Earth. And you have feminists running around on Earth saying the best allocation of their time and energy is to go tell the world how much better they are than other people. And it's like we have kids starving on Earth still. And and you have the arrogance to think that your IQs of like 7 billion, and you can like create food chains, and like you can like I don't fucking know, I'm just I guess really what I'm trying to do, and maybe I need to start a podcast and start chatting with people, and invite you guys on this V-cell journey of doing this. But I'm just like trying to understand why that arrogant mentality has become so popular, because it's like, how has life not smacked you in the face at some point? That's all I want to know. Like how have you made it any distance in life and not been punched in the mouth one or two times in one way or another? Like, because like if you do that in the ocean, right, or you do that type of thing in a boat, like you get smacked in the mouth. You'll be stranded. You know what I mean? You'll have to humbly call somebody or do an SOS call, or like hop in the water. You're trying to figure stuff out as best as you can with the limited knowledge and limited tooling that you have, and you grow humility through it. And I imagine that's just the maritime industry. I imagine it's very same for other people working in any other industry, whether it's airlines or military or this thing or that thing, right? Like whether it's raising kids, and like I imagine there's a lot of opportunity to be humbled as a human being. Um, Now, I'm not saying lose confidence. I'm not saying lose value. I'm not saying lose conviction, but I'm saying lose the arrogance, right? There's a difference between conviction and confidence and arrogance. There's a firm line. I suppose it can be blurred, but like I don't know, just the mentality that exists today with like women be like, I'm a strong, independent woman, at the discreditation of all men is like, bruv, like why? Like, bruv, like what does anybody even gain from that? Like what do you gain from that, right? Like that's what I'm trying to understand is like what do we gain from this? It's not like you're extending life, you're not curing cancer, you're not even generating happy relationships. You're not even like you're not being a facility for anything helpful. Like that's it. That's all you do is just sit there and poke at other people and say I'm better than you for you know what I mean? When we got kids hungry on this planet, we got issues for days. You know what I mean? Like we're trying to solve them as they pop up, as humanity tries to. But yeah, and these are just human issues, right? Let alone like and what I'm trying to reference on this. I apologize. This monologue is so tremendously dense, but I'm just trying to wrap my mind around this. If I'm trying to be as authentic and air this thing out as transparently to you guys as possible, of why it just racks my brain, because I sit here and I'm just like, okay, so there's nothing that gets generated from that type of mentality. It doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help future you even, right? Like so like and these are just three things tied to like the tiny things of what I'm talking about, humans, right? Like you're not impacting the maritime ecosystem. You're not like getting humanity to another planet. You're not like fixing cancer. You're not like making infinite energy for people. You're not even producing a healthy household for yourself. Like even just getting fucked and having kids and building a beautiful family or something. Like you're not even doing that, and yet you want to run around and proclaim that like somehow these Instagram likes and your arrogance is worth all these beautiful and crazy things that I've just described. Like it just does not make sense to me. So this being a very very dense thing, basically maybe this will lead to a conversation with a very feministic woman or something, or a podcast where I can get in the minds of somebody with this type of mentality. And we can understand. Maybe I'm missing something, right? Like maybe the reason why this mentality has plagued out so much is that people have felt so underneath, maybe men perhaps, and all they've wanted to do is just overcome that, whether it's from teaching, programming, or yeah, and what I mean by teaching is like from societal historic teaching or societal historic programming, because us humans, as we learn, we do get programmed. Um, but maybe we've been programmed and taught that men are so great, superior, and I'm merely bringing up this suggestion that I think humans as a whole, like we're great and superior together and with God. But outside of that, we're actually quite fragile creatures. Even the baddest motherfuckers, like You know what I mean? Like we're actually quite gentle and fragile creatures, and quite frankly, that includes me. Like I said, like a tiny little copper lead bullet, going at 2,000 feet per second from the tip of a muzzle of a firearm would do me in. A tiny little bullet this big, and I'm you could fit 300 of them, right, all over my being, right? Like, and a tiny little bullet would like so how arrogant would it be of me to say I'm so strong and independent? And I've got infinite examples of like human fragility, right? Like if if it gets slightly cold, as I mentioned, I get cold. I want a blanket. I'm not the only human on Earth who wants to be warm. Like, you'll never catch too many people in Antarctica without blankets and fireplaces, and if they do, it'll be a funny clip in accordance to this, but it wouldn't be out of genuine living. And that's just a little bit of temperature change on Earth. In the grand scheme of things of like, the human solar system and planets, da 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 da. The reason why I'm always referencing this, by the way, of like solar planets and universe is to help break people's ego. Because if you have the arrogance that like that us on this tiny little floating rock in the universe that is as massive as it is, and that like our arrogance is worth that of destroying other human beings and hurting other people, whether they're egos, families, or otherwise, uh, at the only value of your own self-righteousness is quite unfruitful in my imagination of things, right? Like there is such an infinite amount of things that we don't even understand as humanity. And we know a lot. We've got ChatGPT now, and we're like, oh shit, this thing's crazy. Like, oh shit, like this could take most people's jobs. Like that should tell you maybe humans, as brilliant and as prolific as sometimes we are, like dude, if a little like website called ChatGPT.com can like replace like now 90% of people's work, like maybe that's not the most brilliant things about humans. Like it's not our arrogance and information. Maybe it's actually our ability to depend on each other. And I would actually want to go down that path and very much encourage that and say like, what, I think humans together are very, very, very strong and very, very beautiful together. And that's all we can rely on, especially with the advent of AI, especially with the amount of infinite crazy things that are out there in the world, and the amount of infinite crazy things that we don't even know. Um, not to get too far down the sci-fi, massive space talk, heady stuff anymore, but I will one more time, just to humor you or entertain you. Um, the the I used to always have this thought when I was younger. I was like, I wish society would have something bigger than itself to come together, like a problem bigger than humanity, so we would be forced to come together. And I'll give an example on a small scale of my life of what I mean by this. Come together because a larger problem is in front of you, so you have to come together with your mates or with your friends, despite whether you like them, because there's a larger problem in front of you. And I always thought this thing would happen to humanity. And let me give you this small scale example. So like when I was in elementary school, like then you graduate or move forward. I'm from the States, so we go elementary school, we go middle school, then high school, then college. And when I was in elementary school, you move forward to middle school, which for us, year 1 through 5 is elementary school, year 6 through 8 is middle school, 9 through 12 is high school, and then so on is college and university. I know it's different in different places, but that's roughly our system. And when I was in elementary school, we went to middle school. It was very unknown. It was this huge problem. Oh my God, who's these people? Da 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 da. All these unknowns. And if there was kids from a different elementary school that I heard about or might have known through the neighborhood or something, but I ran into them at the middle school, I was like, oh, like we at least kind of know each other. Like, let's go tackle this problem together. Let's go figure out what this middle school is about together. Same thing with middle school. I went to a middle school called Liberty, and then down the road there was a rival middle school called Falcon Creek, and and sometimes we'd play sports against each other, whether it's basketball, lacrosse, whatever. And we would kind of know of each other, whether it's through like, neighboring friends or whatever. And And then we all went to high school together, and it's this giant unknown thing. Like, oh my God, this school is crazy, and there's kids from everywhere, not just these two middle schools, but because there was these two middle schools that like kind of heard of each other, or me hearing from some kids over there, some kids over there hearing of me maybe, or maybe we played each other in sports. Um, when we ran into each other in high school, going to the same high school together now, it was like, oh, like I used to hate you like a year ago. You know, you were my competitor, but like now we're both in this unknown problem together. We're in this unknown space, and there's now complete unknowns here, and I at least somewhat know of you. Like now we kind of became friends naturally, or they were the people I would kind of gravitate to, or be like, at least I know of. And same thing with college and high school. So in high school, you know, I went to a school called Grandview, and there would be kids from CT or Smoky Hill or wherever. And then we some of us went up to college together. And when I was at CU Boulder, it was like, oh, like I used to hate all you guys for whatever reason, whether it was football, school, basketball, whatever it was. But I knew a couple people because we'd go to high school parties or this thing or play sports against them as mentioned. And then when you're at university, you're exploring this giant new problem with people from international schools and across, you know, the entire world. And it's this larger scope problem or this larger scope unknown, I should say. And you know, and I would naturally be like, oh, well, at least these people from like Smoky Hill, I at least kind of know. Like maybe, you know, maybe we didn't get on well in high school, but at least I kind of know of them now that I'm in college, right? Like, or vice versa. So as the problem scaled up, it actually like unified, you know, the at least I found in my experience, maybe other people had different findings potentially, but in my experience, it was like if there was a larger problem, it would like actually kind of bring us together, you know, whether it was familiarity or whether it was just whatever. So I say all that to say, if you continue that same kind of you know thought process, I almost would think like humans would be better off because we would get on well. We would be like, oh my God, I at least know you from like you know the Democratic and Republican Party. They fight all the time over everything. But then like you know this gonna sound like a nuts example, but if uh if like I don't know some like aliens invaded Earth and they were completely like you know seven-headed creatures with like 52 arms and they were just not human, right? Like not humanoid features. You would at least look at like your opposing political party person, whether you stumbled on them in this dystopian version of Earth, right, with like aliens invading on it. You would at least be like, well, at least recognize this person. I know they're conservative, but at least they're not the alien, you know, like at least I'm kind of friends with them, or at least I know about them, right? Or vice versa for the conservative, like, oh, well, you know, I don't like Democratic people, but like at least it's not the lion that's trying to eat me right now, you know, or whatever the alien, you know, problem that's larger than my own limitations. So I always thought that that would be, you know, how humans come together and like, uh, yeah, because of like some law of familiarity or something like that. I'm not too confident on like what the terminology for that would be called. I'm sure there's some psychological definition or phenomenon for it, um, but yeah. So it blows my mind that people like all of our ancestors worked this incredibly hard, made this many sacrifices, did all these things just for people to run around saying they're strong and independent and arrogant of each other. Like, dude, like, like what? If there's any fruit from it, if we accomplish anything from it, please let me know. If it's just likes on Instagram and like other arrogant, delusional people to lay alongside of you, and that's all you've accomplished, then like, so be it. Then I guess that's the fruit is scratching your ego. So, but anyway, I digress. I could chat for another hour about it, but yeah, I suppose I'll chat about the features and functionalities of V Cell on the next recording. But I think the problem, I should say, that's what this video was actually about, was identifying the issue of why V cells being created because it's undeniably been very evident that humans are separating from each other. People are doing this. Now, I think still the infrastructure of society is coming together, but in the States, I know in great countries like where I'm at now, people very much come together and respect each other, and there's just a calm and neutrality of respect. Um, but I know very much in the States, it's very, very divisive over there. I've got very big worries about the trajectory of the United States in 10 years. So, um, and a lot of it is because of these mentalities, if I'm being honest with you, because behind war is people, right? Like behind businesses is people. Like behind food industries is people. Behind anything is people. Everything we ever deal with is people, right? Like when people say like, oh man, business is like so successful and technology is like all these things, behind all these things, all these materialistic and the Toyota you drive or like any purse or Prada or Platinum Records or whatever, behind every materialistic thing is people. People. Behind anything in the book, behind anything in the history books, behind any title, behind anything. This shirt, behind it was people. People made this, right? People made this. People made this camera. People are listening to this or not, but like behind everything is people. So if people are naturally saying I'm strong and independent, and they're going away from each other, that's the very currency in the day-to-day action to negatively debt society, to negatively credit society, right? Because how all of society has been invented was from people coming together. Hey man, you bring the Thanksgiving turkey to Thanksgiving, I'll bring the mashed potatoes, she'll bring the corn, and he'll bring the gravy. And now we've got a beautiful feast together. And you know, same thing with computers. This person built the screen, this person built the keyboard, this person built the wires. It's every single, there's not a single island on Earth. There's not a single man that accomplished anything alone, right? Like, and even if you did accomplish anything alone, it's fruitless because if your accomplishment was solo dolo and you've got no one to share it with, then you've accomplished something in a vacuum or an echo chamber. So it's quite literally fruitless. So so this mentality of being strong and independent is it's like swiping a credit card every single day on like how to separate people. Slightly, just slightly, not a ton. You're not doing it overnight, but there's been very strong evidence that the last 10, 20 years, there's been huge separation of people, and it's the result of having that mentality every single fucking day of some girl who honestly probably wants to get married, probably wants a great man, saying, "Oh, I'm so much better than you. I wouldn't even engage in a conversation with you." Out of really tame reasons, by the way. By the way, the context of it was we had an amazing date. All these things. She loved every bit about Ryan. I love your voice, love your face, love everything about you, love your toes, love head to toe everything about you. And then she was sending me reels of kids actually. She was sending me these reels of these children and like kind of like insinuating, hey, this could be our future and all these things. And then out of those reels, her Instagram popped up. Do you want to follow it? So I pressed follow, and she saw my Instagram. And her discourse was, "Oh my God, you are such a terrible person. Like I don't want nothing to do with you." All these things out of stuff like and maybe that's a me problem. In fairness, that might be a completely separate issue to what I'm describing here. But it was me with a picture and some girls on a boat, and that was the number one thing that she was like, "Oh my God, I'm so much better than you. I'm so much out of your league. I don't want anything to do with you. All these things." And maybe she is. I've got no idea. You know what I mean? Like I'll leave that to her ego to decide. But the fact that she was willing to go from that juxtaposition at the anchoring point of virtue, self virtue, tells me that my presence probably made her question that. I don't know if you know um, that was my intention. It certainly wasn't, and I was telling her I am happy to work on things. I'm happy to take the photos down. I'm happy to do this, but just so arrogant, so arrogant. She's Miss Perfect, and I'm so below her because I'm human, right? And I'll take that trade any day. I'll take that trade with anybody any day because I'm a human being. I'm not perfect. And with today's world, I've projected some of the idea that, she's strong and independent, as her own mentality and reasoning. But I know very many women I've dated, and they've possessed this mentality too of like, I'm so much better than you. You're so lucky to have me. Da 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 da. All this arrogance, 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 arrogance. And I'm straight confident. It's like, like you could be better than me. That's cool with me. But if you're better than me, my only question is how are you going to help me? And if you're not going to help me, then are you better than me? So, but anyway, I've gone on for an hour now, so I think there's a lot of fruit here in this conversation. I hope all thoughts are closed. I don't know if they are. There's quite a few. Um, I have no idea how well this monologue will age, but fundamentally, humans need to at least relationally. I've explained loads of things of like human evolution, arbitrage of life versus like maritime industries and examples here and there, and the whole space and just big thought talk, but really getting all that off the table and boiling it down to the very fundamental concept is humans are better together. We are better together. And and I'm not suggesting being that girl is my own personal example, but I'm simply making an inference that I've dated a lot of women at this point, and for me to have my only goal of wanting to build a healthy, happy marriage and successful family, and I've literally accomplished everything else that I've ever set out to do. That many people are like, Ryan, you're insane. You'll never accomplish that. You think you get a million streams of music. You think you can move to Dubai. You think you can do all these things. Yeah, right. Like I heard it all. I heard it all. And the fact that I've literally been able to accomplish all of these things, except for a strong, healthy, happy family, I don't know. Makes me wonder how is a man able to do that? How is a man literally able to overcome so many issues and challenges and mental thoughts and fear and like these niched one-off things, at least in my assessment, that seemed impossible 10 years ago. 10 years ago, if you told me I was going to be in Dubai today, I knew it, but I told people I'm going to be on yachts in Dubai. And people are like, yeah, right. Yeah, right. Not a chance. You're insane. Da, 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 you're crazy, all these things. And yet here I am. So the point I'm trying to say is, um, if if I've been able to accomplish and get through all the mud and thick of things and problems and issues and build charter companies and help people and impact society, at least in my own localized way, friends around me, and people like this, and the only thing I haven't been able to accomplish is a successful relationship. Perhaps it is a great reflection of me. I'm happy to always look within, as I very much had to for the last 10 years, the last decade of accomplishments. You don't accomplish these things without looking within, without taking on problems yourself. And perhaps the issue I'm going on is the other side isn't looking within. Perhaps the other, issues is that, maybe the other side needs to just take a moment to be like, maybe I'm not strong and independent. That's all I'm saying. Because my imagination of realizing I'm not strong and independent has left me here, yachts in Dubai. And, my ex's imaginations of them being strong and independent is somewhere, they're, not including this girl, because that was a very, very short-term relationship, but just an appalling virtue of, of position. But I've got very many exes in the States who claim superiority and how strong and independent they are. And what's ironic is all of them have reached back out to me for some sort of opportunity, or showed up at my dad's house for, this thing, or showed up at my house for just running into me, or like or cooking breakfast or things like this, and da 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 da. I'm like, and I'm sitting here just putting the entire question onto the female race or the feminist race, because I think there's a lot of females who would say, They're not strong and independent, but I do want to question the feminists. What tangible value has your strong and independence brought you? Like your strong and independent mentality. Because if you win an Olympic race and you're strong and independent, but you go do your own Olympic race, like you're not independent. Your accreditation of being like a strong and Olympic woman, whatever your accolade is, it relies on other people still. Like you can't win a gold medal on a island. Nobody respects it, right? So like you at least need competition. You need a crowd. You need a judge. You need somebody to say like, hey, you did earn this. So you're dependent on those things, right? Like you're dependent on the people who made the linens that you're wearing. You're dependent on God waking you up every day and protecting your heartbeat. Like you're dependent on the military around you to protect your borders. You're dependent as am I. Like I'm not sitting here as I'm more virtuous than you. That's not the point I'm trying to make. We're all dependent on each other. Like when I'm captaining a boat for people, they're dependent on me. And likewise, I'm dependent on them. It's not a fun boat ride if I'm just alone. Like it's not. I mean, it's still enjoyable, but it's not as fun, right? Like way more fun with people than to do stuff alone, right? So so that's my only projection of a question is, let's even use the last hour of talk for fun and entertainment, or maybe some good thought processes there. But the fundamental question that I want to ultimately end it on is what has, and maybe a feminist could chat with me about it. She might teach me something. I'm super open to learn, right? Like super open to learn. But when it comes to interacting with humans outside of other human beings who share the same mentality as you, what has that strong and independent mentality led you? Like what has it achieved for you? That's what I want to know. Did you become like a billionaire off of it? Did you like, but even if you became a billionaire, like your money depends on the market using your money. Like it depends that the person you give a $5 bill to still respects your $5 bill. Like it still depends on other things. So like I simply there's no example where anybody in my imagination of anything of for whatever it's worth could ever possibly say that you're independent of everything on earth ever, period. You're just simply not. Like you're not independent of God at any point in time ever. You're not independent of the oxygen that you need on earth. You're not independent of the trees that need to produce oxygen, or the fresh water that exists on earth that's like protected or resourced by the country that you live in, right? Like, so I just like, could someone please give me one actual example where they're strong and independent? And if you can't, if you simply cannot, then my suggestion is maybe there's an adjustment of a mentality to be made because it's just simply not true. So um, yeah. Well, excuse me, I'm dying here. I'm kind of sick, but I'm dependent on the healthcare system right now. I promise you that. This place actually has really, really, really wonderful healthcare. So shout out to UAE. Um, but I'm not saying these things to fire other people up. That's not my intention. So if this is inciting stuff, that's it's certainly not my goals. And I'm always open to reflect and better myself as a man or a mentality, right? Or better my mentalities, right? But um, but yeah, I think a lot of like exes of mine, for instance, or people around me would very much benefit just for asking for help with people. Most people are happy to help. Most people are good people. Like Thanksgiving's a lot more fun with the table when someone brings soda and someone brings water and someone brings the honey ham, and someone brings the turkey, and someone brings the nice cutlery. And, it makes things a lot more fun. And I think we as a society are doing ourselves a disservice by letting that mentality of arrogance and independence, because it's certainly not strength. I've explained 50 examples on why it's not strength at all. Um, but that mentality of arrogance and independence is somehow noble, somehow virtuous, somehow superior when there's no fruit in alignment with it. Even the United States is like, hey, we're Independence Day, but you can only proclaim Independence Day, one, depending on the citizens and depending on the countries that you're saying, hey, you can't control me and all these things. But as evidence that things are coming out, it looks like that the United States is very dependent on other countries as well, very dependent on China for manufacturing, very dependent on the Strait of Hormuz out here, for oil, right? Like this is the waters out here is where the most naval fleet of the U.S. exists actually, because of the most oil comes right over here, so right through the Strait of Hormuz. So again, in all generalities, small or large, like what are we doing as society? Say like proclaiming any independence from anybody, like it's oh man, oh I could go on it for hours because I've been told about it for hours. So I just my apologies, but I'll wrap it up here because I'm just yeah. Don't be strong and independent. Be find strength and humility and interdependence at the very least, or honestly, even being weak and dependent is in my assessment of life now is honestly a better system than being strong and arrogant for sure. Like, oh man, what a terrible existence that is to be strong and arrogant. What a terrible existence. So that's my recommendation. If some of these things have resonated with you, is one, make sure to share it. Two, make sure to comment on it. Make sure to like, subscribe. Find all the things that VCell stands for, which is going to be building systems that people can come together and work with each other, hold each other accountable to good standards, to be humanitarian towards each other. Not perfect standards, good standards. That's very important, right? Like trying to certainly integrate that within the systems I build is not perfect, just progressing, right? Not perfect, just progressing. And that's going to be the mentality of what the relationships I want with people, and because I still get tiffs with people. I still find myself angry sometimes. I still, this, that, the other. But today's society, we're expected to be these strong, perfect, independent people when like none of us are perfect, and none of us are strong, and none of us are independent. So it's quite a interesting existence. But I'm here to build a system that kind of evades a lot of that. So if you found this any bit entertaining or fruitful, even 1% of it, maybe like 99% you're like this is shit, but 1% of it, if you laughed or enjoyed it, please share it with everyone you know. Sign up for the newsletter, uh, which I'm sure more than likely I'll have a link below to all these things, the Facebook, Instagram, like all of it. Tell everybody it helps more than you know. And certainly, personal experiential recommendation is as much of the arrogance you could put away. Don't lose your confidence, keep the swagger, keep the conviction, but do not be arrogant to life and try your best to not be arrogant to other people. Like it's still something I work on every day. So I'm not judging you if someone happens to have fallen into that because I very much have myself 100%. Like I'm not a perfect person, but let's try to hold each other accountable. I want to be held to the accountability that I'm trying to put on to other people. And I very much know that a lot of people are not going to like this message, but I think a lot of people are going to love it. So yeah, so share it, tell everybody, and thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to lay down and probably take some medicine. Thank you.